one thing I've learned is like the kind of scared that will be rewarded with pleasure on the other side if I don't let it hold me back. But the things that I've found to be the most exhilarating, often they have nerves and scaredness with them. And then the pleasure of doing it anyway. So it's like a thrill. But also in this case, I'm like, I know that that part of the scared is something that I don't even believe in the story anymore, but she's got it left over and that's okay. And so a bit of it is like, hey, let's do it in a container that will feel safe and see what shifts.
Hi, we're Jamie and Joan, two humans and bodies who take care of bodies for a living.
We created this podcast as practical medicine for bodies living through this disembodied time.
We want to invite you to come sit with us and experience the beautiful, loving, complex person that is your body.
Well, hello, Jamie.
Hi, Joan. We're here for our final episode forever. Just kidding. It's just for season 3. I actually said that to Ty this morning. I was like, we're recording our final episode. He was like, ever? I was like, no. No. I mean, I don't know. Maybe something could happen. You never. But no. We're totally planning on being back here in a few months for season 4. I'm having a great time. I don't want to stop this anytime soon.
Yes. No, thank you. I just think and it's so wild. At some point I'd like to really go back to the beginning and like listen through. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the arc is of just like my personal relationship with myself, with my body, with you, with creating this kind of work for the outside world. Like, yeah, it's actually remarkable, the arc so far, and it just keeps getting more fun to do.
Yeah, I agree. Co-sign all of that completely. It's funny thinking too about how the life of this project truly like spans my life in Bellingham so far. Like I remember recording the Jamie episode where I'm like sharing my stuff was in the room in our house that we at first were like, maybe this will be our office. No, for sure. Like the idea of like, one kid's room is going to double as the office when they're not here. The other kid's room is going to double as my massage therapy space when no, absolutely not. They're just their bedrooms now. So that room was just raw. And so I remember that really vividly, having that conversation in this room where like the walls were this color and it was just, and it looks way better now. And so the feeling of the beginning of this podcast happening as we had just moved into this house. I had just moved to Bellingham. There's something really sweet about that for me too, as I kind of trace the arc as well.
Yeah. And thinking back on all the times I've already gotten to ask you this question, Jamie, but I'm so excited. It's been a bit of a longer stretch again since we last spoke. Yeah. And I'm really curious, how have you been experiencing your anatomy since we last had our conversation?
Well, I resolved a scent conflict, as you can probably hear. Also, mildly poisoned myself through having 2 glasses of wine, which as a 37-year-old is apparently just too much inflammation for the body to handle.
Oh, I relate.
Let me be clear. It was 2 glasses of wine 4 days ago, and I'm still feeling.
It just doesn't hit.
No, it does not.
The way it used to.
No, it does not. And the scent conflict aspect of it, which by the way, I'm just so glad I can like very easily use this shorthand here now that everybody knows what I'm talking about, has everything to do with the fact that we now have a preteen in the house. And I'm not even going with this where some of you might be assuming I'm going with this, which is like the natural sense of a preteen boy. No, where I'm going with this is the unnatural sense that preteen boys, you knew that preteen boys.
Axe body spray.
Nailed it right there.
It's everywhere.
Okay, so,
terrible.
I picked our 11 and a half. That feels important because 11 to a 12 is big. And so
Ugh.
he's like closer to 12 than 11. So
Yeah.
I picked him up at a friend's house after dropping him off at that friend's house a couple hours before. The scent when he got into my car, I immediately went into conflict shock state because I was like, this is so horrible. Like, I definitely have a story, and I like said something, but I didn't want to make it too dramatic because what I don't want to do is like do the whole like it bothers me so you can't do it.
Yes.
And that's where I internally went first because I got really bothered because it both is true and is a story that I'm like very sensitive to chemical, unnatural scents of any kind. Like I had a scent conflict once because I got on a bus and I saw something in the cup holder in front of me. I was like, what is that? It was like shiny and black and I didn't know what it was. Someone had left like a travel perfume and I just like touched it and it got on my hands and the scent would not come off because I was on a like a charter bus situation where there is a bathroom but it's just the alcohol based hand sanitizer so I couldn't wash it off and I knew it was coming because it hit me so intensely and my body reacted I just started sneezing a ton and I was like fuck, this is gonna be a thing later. And so I knew it was coming. He got in the car. I immediately had resistance to what was happening. And I rolled the window down and I was just like, wow, dude, like, okay, what'd you guys do in there? You know? And he said he didn't spray it on himself. He claimed that his friend sprayed it in the room. And then, I was like, I do kind of believe you because I know that's the way this stuff works. But for the next like hour, I was truly in. Now, let me also contextualize. I was pretty at the end of my resource rope. And so easy for me to get into this. Like about an hour, I was like, oh no, this is my life now. What am I going to do? Because I'm going to have two of them at once that are living this way in my home.
Help.
I know, Joan. And it's so funny that I told Ty, I was like, this is the hardest challenge I have faced in step parenting so far. I'm not kidding. That's kind of embarrassing, but it's true.
I understand.
I know.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people hopefully will.
Oh.
So I was like with that feeling for an hour. And of course, I ping-ponged around in my head I'm just going to draw a boundary and it's not a rule. It's a boundary. I'm just taking care of myself. And I was doing all that. And then I remembered lovely, lovely Dr. Melissa Sell, who I've heard her talk about because people will ask her these kinds of questions all the time about like, well, what about the chemicals in the food? And what about and she's given this example of like, when she went to a relative's house and was staying, overnight or something like that, they had those little Glade plugins and a past version of her would have like railed against it internally and be like, it's bad. It's going to be bad for me and do a bad thing. And now because of her depth of understanding and working with the framework of German New Medicine, she's like, that only happens if I attach to that story, actually. And what is available to me and what isn't. So in the example she gave, she's like, it was pretty like low stakes. I unplugged it in my room, Yeah. And the person I heard her share this in a conversation with, kind of was having, I wouldn't say he was having a difficult time tracking with her, but I think he still was a bit more of the consciousness of like, but the chemicals, the things are bad. And so he kind of posed the like, well, what if you can't unplug it? What if which for me, I'm like, yeah, what if you can't make it go away?
On the skin of the person.
She essentially just with a ton of levity and just like a chilled out disposition was like, you can still just decide to not turn it into a conflict in your body. You can have there's a difference between like having a hard time with something and internalizing the difficulty so intensely that you are now the source of the suffering, not the thing.
Ugh.
And so within that hour, I was like, all right, I'm going to see what me and my body, what we have capacity for.
Yes.
I'm also just going to have an open conversation with them, be like, I'm just going to tell you what does and doesn't work for me. I'm not telling you what to do. But this is a larger conversation in the parenting realm at the moment is like, you exist amongst other people. It would be good for you to consider them occasionally.
For sure. Because other people could have allergy slash story slash whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
so when is it a priority for you to be like, my scent is my
Yes.
being and it's my first priority? And when is it not? And so then,
Yeah.
there's degrees.
But what I know is that we'll never get there if I just go, I hate this. I'm going to say it
it's
can't.
bad.
And my biology went there first, went there fast, went there hard, and just like once I resolved, because I could feel the sympathetic state. And then took me an hour, I resolved it, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see what happens with the sinuses. And here we are. So it has been really helpful, like it always is, but I don't know, like even more so this time in this experience of my sinus inflammation, I have found a greater access to ease and just like anchoring in the story of like, my body's healing right now. Like I can always get there these days. And typically in the past when I've gotten there, it hasn't really felt like it has like buoyed me in the symptoms I'm experiencing. I feel like I'm just kind of like, I'm feeling and it still feels terrible. But it's hard to explain. Something about this time, I just like the more I anchor into that story, the more I actually feel like the impact of my symptoms less. Like I do genuinely have more energy right now than typically when I have sinus stuff going on. So that's just it's kind of a dual noticing. And then within that, just a larger noticing of just like, maybe it's especially because of doing this project, it's made me aware of just how often I'm apparently resolving and so therefore going into scent conflicts. And so just how often, again, Melissa Sell talks about when you have like a conflict track. So it's something like if you get chronic sinus infections, if you get chronic earaches, if you get chronic, you seem to have, there's a track you're in where you seem to keep kicking up, having the same resistant-based response, you kicking up the stuff. And so just in the last couple of days, I've been like, okay, body, what do you need from me for us to work with this conflict track we apparently have about like things happening and immediately going, this stinks. I don't like it. I want it to be different. Like it's a very, and I got the sense today as I was talking to my body about it, like unsurprisingly, it's a young part that needed probably to intensely send up distress signals to try and get her needs met by being like, this stinks, probably because there was an absence of really straightforward attunement
and attention
from the people that I needed to notice me when I just was like, I don't like this. Can we, and so if that attunement isn't there, all you're left with is the loud, intense distress. So how I've been experiencing my anatomy lately in the micro and the macro is like just getting really curious about what can be looked at more closely with greater compassion regarding apparently this is what I love about GNM. My body is apparently trying to tell me that I've got a mental and emotional, like chronic thing going on regarding my posture in the direction of what is. And that, me figuring out what's going on there with that, like profoundly serves my spiritual development and my spiritual well-being, therefore my relational well-being, my communal well-being, my impact on it's like, it ripples out all the way. So once again, I'm so grateful for my belief in whether we call it, Germanic healing knowledge, whether we call it anything else, like I'm just really grateful for the overarching belief that I am firmly rooted and anchored in, which is like, she is a spiritual technology. Everything she's doing is attempting to offer me a cheat code of sorts for the express purpose, endeavor of the development of my soul. That is the point of having and being in a body. So it's just a fun game to figure that out whenever symptoms arise. So that's what's been going on over here with me and her.
I love that. I will name, I probably like, we could elaborate some other time, but I resonate with sudden and strong reactions to a new habit or declaration or behavior of my child, and particularly two things. One that you said directly, which is like, now I'm trapped with this
Yes.
for a long, maybe forever.
Okay, so really quick, that's one of the things Melissa Sell specifically will say about the conflict. It's an isolating event. The thing that makes you feel trapped and alone.
Yeah.
That's what causes conflict shock. It's so specific. It's that feeling.
Love that. Love that being what conflict feels. Yeah, that's such a great way of describing it. And then also like, well, the only way that happens is me like just aggressively projecting stories onto these sweet children.
Totally.
And like, I think I've said on this before, it's like, well, now they're going to be serial killers.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to end up in a gang. Well, throw in the towel now, I guess.
It's all over.
It's all over.
Yep.
Like the intensity of reaction I have about things. And then I'm getting quicker at catching myself and recognizing the avenues I can explore.
Yeah.
But it's really quite intense. And so that.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, also, I don't think I've ever talked to you about this, but I did some work with like a pain reprocessing coach just because I was really fascinated with the methodology she learned, which is like, I think it's called pain reprocessing therapy, and it's got other names, but like the notion of especially chronic pain is often being held in your body because of stories you have about pain.
Yeah.
And often if you release fear of pain, that changes your experience of pain, including altering, perhaps even eliminating, but that's not even necessarily the goal. But anyway, so
yep.
And so with her, I was more fascinated about it and like learning about it, but I wanted to pick a thing to like experientially like understand how she does it. And I don't live with chronic pain, but I do have a terminology for it is misophonia, or like I had an intense recurring pattern of like just a strong, intense discomfort when people would eat loudly, like chewing sounds, eating loudly. And it's not like now I am cured or whatever, but I do have a very different experience now, including still noticing what's either left over / just my nervous system's propensity to take careful notice if people are making mouth sounds around their food.
Yeah.
That was one of my strategies was, all that's happening is they're making mouth sounds, like neutralizing the story, being like, I'm observing.
Yes.
My body is having a reaction to their mouth sounds. My body versus the shame, the resistance, all of the stuff. That was like the main work we did together was simply getting to the place of like, my body is having a reaction. My ears are feeling the vibrations of their mouth sound through the air, and my body is reacting to that. And that's what's happening.
Neutral somatic terms, I'm telling you, like what a tool. What a tool
Magical.
For understanding your pain. Like I've said this before, one of my greatest passions is translating concepts like law of attraction into neutral somatic language. So anything we get hung up on in either the direction of like how good our lives can be or how bad we feel our lives are, like distill down into just totally neutral somatic language. And that field of possibility opens right up because now you're not like identifying with a term, with a diagnosis, with an ideology, with a preconceived notion or mindset or someone else's definition of the thing. You just get to check how it feels for you when you try on some other language. You get to feel through what feels maybe more true and more applicable. And then if that supports you and helps you in some way, guess what? You get to keep it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
There you go. Anyway, so that was the other thing to share was like you kind of being like noticing the stories layered onto what may be some amount of the chemical touching your nose and creating a reaction. But at some point beyond that, there also was a story. And certainly that piece, at least, you could alter and then get curious about what happens to the rest and explore it with your body and see what will happen now.
Yes. How does that go backwards? Does that work backwards? Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're so correct that it was that the initial, somatic response sensation was like, wow, intense smell that I don't like, the animal brain, but within a second, half a second, a split second, I went straight to, oh God, I'm stuck here now.
Yes.
So, right. So again, this is the specificity of like what GNM is talking about with a conflict. It's like when you when you either allow yourself or just notice that you already have, because this stuff works quick when we have these when it manifests as a deep belief in like you either now are or soon will be in a state that like used to be for a species like an unsurvivable state of like isolation, aloneness, no resourcing, no recourse. No, the invitation becomes, can we work with our bodies to slow down that response time by over time? This has come up so much in my sessions lately. Like, this is just what we're doing. It's just a lifelong negotiation with this record keeper. Like, that's what's, it's that forever. Keeper. And again, you can do it like it's a great weight. You can do it like it's a dance. Like, I love feeling like it's a dance now. And this doesn't always feel awesome, like when I've got sinus symptoms. But again, she's cluing me into the fact that like, apparently I do this. Apparently something's going on in my unconscious body mind that when I smell something I don't like in a particular context on the bus, it was, oh no, I'm trapped, I'm stuck, I can't wash my hand, I'm on this bus, I have 2 hours ahead of me. With my stepson, it was, oh no, he lives in my house and he's becoming a teenager and now there's going to be another. It's like noticing how we just cascade like that, how we avalanche like that.
Yes.
So that's why I love this framework, because I'm like, apparently I'm doing that a lot. How do I know? I'm getting chronic sinus infections. That's how I know I'm doing that a lot. So I just wonder what could be possible if I start working with what is available to me to work with on the thinking mind level, and maybe my body will start responding by not really hating Axe body spray that much. Although I don't know. I don't know if I want to story to stop like hating
question mark.
I love it now. No, God.
Even getting closer to neutral. That's where it's like, I still find mouth sounds unpleasant.
Yes.
I still do. It's more of a tickle than a stab. It used to genuinely feel like a stab.
It causes you less distress, probably.
And I am so grateful that it's only a tickle.
Well said.
And I don't think I'm ever going to be like, yay! Like, there's like ASMR.
Everyone come sit near me and chew in my face. Yeah, totally. I do.
That was part of it. I like found these YouTube videos of like ASMR, like chewing. And I was like sat there.
Exposure therapy.
It was exposure therapy. And it wasn't like, it didn't flip any switches.
Well, this is the thing is I'm going to really if I'm really going to like be invested in the lives of my stepsons, like exposure therapy is inevitable for me.
Just part of life.
So yeah, this is good. This is good. This is helping. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
Like I can make those instances useful for me by saying, oh, this is a therapeutic process for myself.
Yes.
Let's do this.
I didn't even know coming around the corner, but here it comes. Another exposure therapy session.
That's right. Goody. Yay.
Oh, so much to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be here whenever.
I'm always peeking into my future with you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's really fun.
Oh, yeah. They're already emitting various smells that I'm learning to tolerate. Stinky socks.
It's just going to keep getting more intense.
Yeah.
So, oh, yeah. Just look out.
Mamma mia. Yeah.
Tell me about how you've been experiencing your body lately.
Well, the experience that I had quite recently that felt like really special and tender, and I'm also like kind of still unpacking, was that I got to go give a talk at my younger son, who's still in kindergarten. I got to give a talk in his like kindergarten class about being a doctor.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so even fun. Like when I got that email, it was like getting an email from the queen or the king.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I was like, this is the most important speaking engagement I will ever
absolutely.
have. I thought about it so much. I'm like, what do I want to bring? How will it be engaging for them? Like, how can I make it interactive? What do I want to say? So I brought my doctor's bag. I brought a stethoscope to pass around, and like swabs and an otoscope. And so they could kind of play with it.
Mm-hmm.
I brought a bunch of expired syringes, just a syringe, not the needle, and some very sparkly Band-Aids. And they all practiced giving their stuffy a vaccine, which was so cute. And then just playing with the plunger.
So cute. There's stuff. You just put the little.
It was so cute. And then I also brought Bodies Are Cool, which we've talked about this book, right?
Yeah.
Which I said, like, I have this in my patient room all the time, and I read through it. And all of that, I felt like good about what I did. But like, honestly, what was happening in my anatomy and what I perceive in theirs, because like I was like saying different things, and like, they're 4 and 5, like, I can say all sorts of things, and they're like, huh? And like, does anyone have a question? And like, so many of them would go like this, and then you'd be like, yes, you, and they'd be like, I like that. I like that. And I'm like, thank you so much. And someone else up their hand and be like, thank you for coming. Like, none of them had questions. And they have natural curiosity in other ways, but like, you know what I mean? It's not the Q&A, but then you saw their natural curiosity. And the thing, I think, if nothing else, like what I just did was tuned into my absolute delight in being there with both Leo there, being a sweetie and playing with his friend, and being really shy, which was really cute, because he's not shy otherwise. But then other little kiddos, like there's this adorable girl in a hijab who like came and sat by me, and she kept like telling me stories and telling me questions. And when you just like have a kiddo who's like, ooh, you're like, I'm attuned to you, like bee to a flower. Like there's just like a little bit of that. And that's like such a precious vibrational exchange, and you want to just treat it with like, I'm going to give you good attention. And then another little boy started to cry, and I guess he misses his parents a lot. And so I just like kneeled down, and then the teacher helped. But like, so like a bit of really what I offered was just like, hello, I'm another adult, and looking at this beautiful group of faces of children in my neighborhood and my community, and just like offering a little nugget of care to them, and talking about bodies being cool and that sort of thing. But I feel like a bunch of that fully went over their heads, and that's totally fine.
Perfectly fine.
But more was just like, look, this is like, I'm another adult in your orbit.
Yep.
And that just felt quite sacred, just having the little circle around the carpet, and I'm sitting there. I haven't fully processed, but it was just like so tender. And then, sorry, audio only people, but maybe I'll describe it. Then Leo today came home with this poster.
Oh,
I don't know if you had the same kind of.
Oh,
and it's a big thank you, Dr. Chan. Thank you for coming. We enjoyed your visit. We learned so much from you. Thank you for sharing your doctor tools, Band-Aids, and syringes. We really liked the book you read to us. Love K2. And that has all their little names. And then on the back, they all did. They all made art for me.
They all made various types of art for you. And that is so cute.
And I was just like, oh, and this one. Dr. Chan, I like your tools. Thank you for sharing your tools. And then there's a little picture of me. I'm the tallest one.
Yes, clearly. I would hope
with
so.
The Band-Aid.
With the Band-Aid.
And we're all just sharing the tools. Tools spelled T-O-L-S.
Yes. Oh.
So then that was a whole other wave of like,
that is really lovely.
I'm keeping that forever.
Oh, I love
it was so.
It.
Yeah.
If you were to language the sensations in your body, both then when you were having the experience and like now when you're talking about it, what do you notice? I want to see if they match mine.
Oh.
Because I've got a lot.
This full like balloon of like warm air in my chest and like up into my throat. And especially like there's something about those little faces. When I look at Leo's face, I always think like he's like the moon and Felix is like the sun. I don't know what, but I mean, but there's something about the quality of looking at their face where you're looking into like a natural wonder.
Yes, that's right.
In this tiny form.
Yeah.
And then they were all there, and they were all, I know I'm not yet saying what languaging, but like it's like, it's awe. It's like a feeling of awe throughout my body of like these tiny forms. and then just shots of like absolute pure delight when they would raise their hand and say, and then just like you could see all over their face. They didn't know what they were going to say. They just knew they had to raise their hand.
That's right. They're going on impulse. Going with the
like,
feeling. Yep.
I liked it. And it's just like, how are we supposed to handle that?
Yeah.
Such cute creatures exist in this world, and they're just so yummy.
Yeah.
So it's like a heartbreaking kind of pleasure in the sense of they're little and it's ephemeral. It's not forever. There's always this tension of kiddos where you get the sense of like they won't always be this way, and that's how it's supposed to be. But there's something about that always feels there's like an ache in there as well. And also a sense of like, I hope they are all well. I hope they all know they are loved. And you're giving your bit of it to them. But there's also a whole totality of their existence. And I mean that even for like my kids, like, you know, obviously I have way more direct contact with them, but I also don't control their full lives and their whole experience they'll always have. And there's a real ache of the wish I have for them to know that they are loved, you know?
Yeah.
That's all in there.
Yeah. First of all, that warm chest balloon sensation. Same.
Yeah.
And as I was listening to you describe that posture, that disposition towards like these 4 and 5-year-olds, and just like, yeah, awe is such a great word for it. This like awe and wonder in the direction of these like small people, just for being.
Yeah.
It is really interesting to me hearing you name like the ache in that, because that's not there for me. But maybe I'll say the first thing that happens prior to, you know, the eventual inclusion of that same ache for the same reason is this like really excited, energetic, expansive feeling of that's still true about all of us. Like that
that's
feeling
me in there.
That's me. That's you. That's you. It happens most frequently for me in the direction of like those kids are just future adults, and every adult is a former kid. So every adult is a former 4-year-old who existed in some degree of some state of awe and wonder in the direction of all of this, because also that's the correct assessment about all of this, actually. Holy shit, it's all amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And every adult was previously a kid that was equally, and so therefore remains equally deserving of being assessed and received in the way that you are assessing and receiving these 4 and 5-year-olds. And this is something I feel with everyone from like my stepchildren to my clients a lot of times when I am working with grown adults, where if I am working with someone who their nervous system is just really consistently, chronically dysregulated, and so they can't really get to their natural state, and that's they've become hip to this, and they know there's a different way to feel, and that's the entire reason why they're working with me. I will often feel, especially in the first like 2 months of working with someone, that my whole job in that session, and it's a similar thing that I feel like my whole job in these interactions I have with my kids is like, I am holding in front of myself. This is my highest responsibility. I'm holding in front of myself the vision of you in your highest, most you, most natural state every single time I interact with you. And I have watched that like quickly transform. And I'm not doing anything, just me holding that energy like transforms my perception of an interaction. It transforms my perception of like, you know, what could be going on in the other person, and therefore like my assessment of the character of the other or whatever.
Yes.
And inevitably, if I continue to hold that, they confirm it. They show up to that. And it could be because they're doing a thing, but it's mostly because I'm primed to see it. This is not how I always like thought, felt, etc. I'm very much reminded of my first experience with this, the full dose journey I had when I was in London. One of the most important moments of it was me realizing, kind of placing myself in space and time. And I was like in this apartment in East London. And I knew that like, if I were to go outside, like I would encounter person after person after person after person after person, which sometimes when I've done full-dose journeys, I'm in a more rural area. If I go outside, it's not the case. But there was something that was like so vital for me to recognize, but also so important for me to not actually do, was like, if I were to go outside right now, I would become non-functional seeing these human beings, because I would just like fall down at their feet in awe and wonder of like, that you, oh my God, you. And it's like, the thing is like, that is the way we feel about kids. It's kind of hard for us to get there in the direction of adults. Same person, same people.
What if we practice that?
What if we did?
If we practice
what
that?
if we did? Yeah. So speaking of imaginative possibility, like, what if we did? What if we did?
Yeah. Oh, I feel I've heard that idea a few different ways, and I'm just so grateful that you've reminded me of it now, because I think I would love for that to be just a thing I more actively, intentionally practice. Like, I think in many ways it's a bit already there in different ways, but really, especially in the realm of like imaginative possibility, like really allowing my body to offer me her imagination of what this person's, you know what I mean? Like, because I certainly can see how it changes interactions, like with patients, with colleagues. Like if you feel like you're under attack, if you assume they're not trustworthy, if you assume like all the different judgments you can put on a person, at least leave it neutral. Yeah. But there's something amazing about like, what's the magic inside of this person?
Yes. And it is a little cheat code for me that when I'm like interacting with someone both directly or kind of indirectly walking past someone, or like going to this place of almost guaranteed, this individual in front of me, when they were a child, someone looked at them with awe and wonder.
I love that.
Like I've been doing that in my mind for years now.
I want to try that one on.
Yeah. Do it. I think it's fun. It's fun.
That sounds like a fun game.
Yeah, it is a fun game.
Like for real. That sounds like a really fun game.
It feels really good in the body to do it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that catch up. That was like already just such a fun, rich catch up. Hey, so we're at the final episode of this season. Yeah. Talking about imaginative possibility and basically what happens after death, but before the creation of what's next. And I remember when I kind of anchored on probably this being what our last topic of this season would be, and it being the doorway into next season. Because if you've noticed, folks, that's often what we've been doing.
Yes. Surprise.
And it's just because it is what feels correct. And yeah, like as we were chatting in that sauna in Nashville about what this season would hold, I just got this deep sense of like, I think the next thing that we'd have to talk about is pleasure. Because for me, when you're in the field of imaginative possibility, especially if you're used to just having someone tell you what to do next, but instead now you have everything is possible, that can be actually quite overwhelming. And I feel like I hear, probably not said that way, like I'm in the field of imaginative possibility, but people talking about like a version that I've heard people say is like, if I rested, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Yes, I hear it constantly. Yep.
That's like a real pragmatic, but they're saying the same thing.
Yes. Yep.
Actually.
Yeah.
And so the notion of how to know what to do with oneself, how to know what you want. That's another way that I had to like learn the answer to that question is, how do I know what I want? Because I'd spend a whole lot of time deconditioning and deconnecting myself from that and being sort of socially, conditionally rewarded for that.
Yep.
And so pleasure has been the only answer that consistently makes sense. And it's certainly something I've learned from many people, but like explicitly our time together when like you were my embodiment coach, like putting that into words of like, what if you're only here to feel good? What if you're here to have a good time?
Yep.
Like, what if pleasure, you're in the midst of a forest and maybe none of it's scary, but you're like, do I turn left, right, or go, which way forward feels best? It's a revolutionary concept, in my opinion, even though it's also the oldest thing, do what feels good. It's primal.
Sure. Yeah. that is kind of the thing though, is like we got to wade through, peel back so much to get to the natural, to get to the primal, to get to the instinctual.
Yeah.
These days, we're just like in the context of medicine, industrialized bodies, but it's kind of like industrialized everything for industrialized bodies these days. And that is one of many complex layers present when trying to do the both and actually of getting back to the primal body, but in a regulated, non-reactive way.
Yeah.
In a way that like is successful at peeling off the layers of modernity, but is also successful at relaxing into some of the elements that make survival actually even more possible than it has ever been because of modernity. And so what I mean by that is like the ways in which we have to successfully negotiate with the record keeper of our body, that when they send up a communication signal flare of I'm not getting something I actually need because there's a way in which life is being lived in me unnaturally, like out of alignment with natural law, I'm sending up this signal flare. And those negotiations, more often than not, for them to be successful, they necessitate us interacting with our bodies in a way where we're like, oh, you know what? You're right. You know better than I do in this situation.
Yeah.
And also, there are so many times where our bodies will send up signal flares about something that we're doing right now in this moment that is aligned with our conscious values, maybe we'll say, that our memory that is stored in our body mind of what used to be safe to do is like there's a conflict there. There's a difficulty. There's a stuckness. There's a suspicion about the new thing, the chosen thing, and our bodies go abort, abort, abort. Not safe. Not safe. Not safe. And in those moments, successful negotiation looks like us going, oh, thank you so much for not like shut the fuck up, but like thank you so much for contributing your perspective to this conversation.
Yes.
I actually love you too much to let you win this one. I actually have to tell you what is more true and therefore more beneficial about right now. This is why I have a career, is helping people develop the specificity of somatic literacy that, by the way, all I'm doing in the work I do is helping people remember something that is innate to them. Innately, the human animal that is, consciousness animated into living matter has the innate ability to tell the difference between those two things.
Yeah.
Quickly.
They know what they want.
Yes, without any external input.
Yeah.
But again, it's really hard to get there. So I think this all really matters to say because like so much of my career has been going into and talking people down from on some level the ledge of like, but I can't trust what feels good because sometimes they're right about that. Sometimes our bodies are trying to say what would feel good would be for you to engage the avoidant attached behavior in this moment because that would make me feel safer. But actually what would feel truly good, and this is the word I know I've worked with you, and what would make us truly well, rather than the thing that scratches the good feeling itch, but what would make us feel the type of good that makes us more well would be to take a deep breath, tell the truth to the body, stay in the moment, tell the truth to the other person, choose courage. And sometimes what looks like that is us pushing ourselves past our limit when our body is saying, what would be more true for me is for you to. So the field of imaginative possibility that is directed by an internally sourced sovereignty that must be balanced up against or with or alongside the necessary interdependence with the 8 billion other people on this planet, that field is extraordinarily nuanced.
Yeah.
Both in our own somatic experience and in the somatic experience of every single other person that hopefully for themselves in their own way, in their own time is also taking this journey of expanding out beyond the limitations of a fundamentalist structure of any kind and recognizing that, oh no, the field is where we're meant to live, but you feel things in the field.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you decide what's best, and how do you cohabitate with others who are doing that too? It's complicated.
It's so complicated. Like I can see distinct sort of topics or focuses like I can see how it will fill a whole season, because even like all the stories that we've been conditioned to believe about pleasure, that makes it complicated, right? And then that changes your experience of the pleasure and warps it. Like two things that feel connected is I remember once on a Facebook forum for Canadian physician women, and someone was like trying to make a decision, and then everyone was giving their advice. And I forget, I genuinely don't remember, but I remember being like, you're like, what is your gut telling you? Like, what would feel good? And then someone else replied to my comment being like, do what feels good is dangerous. That's like, that's what makes
really
you,
in the zeitgeist. That's
makes
really
you do
present.
drugs. Like that's what, like the full idea was like, that's what drug addicts think.
I know this is a whole, this for me, can you tell we've hit on a thing? Oh no, I'm going to go into a conflict. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Deep breaths.
I'm just like so passionate about defending the character of the body, where I'm just like, your body doesn't want you to kill yourself using substance. Like, stop it. Like,
that's not the dangerous, like if you leave the body unattended, it's just going to like creep over to the corner.
Your pain wants you to do that.
Of
it
course.
just so happens that your pain lives in your body. That's not her
that's
fault.
A beautiful
That's
way
not
to put
who
it.
she is.
Yeah.
Your pain is not the person of your body. That's the only place your pain lives. And we know that that's the place your pain lives because most of the time, the do what feels good. Again, this is why the distinction of good and well is helpful, because like most of the time, the things that someone like that believes that people are doing, it's to not feel stuff. It's not actually to feel good stuff.
It's not to feel pleasure. It's to feel relief. It's to feel relief from bad stuff.
That's a great way to put it.
And relief is a kind of pleasure.
Sure.
It can be delicious. I will say what is true for me, and I have a curiosity if it's possible it's true for many people, which is like the more that I've given myself permission to enjoy every kind of pleasure that my body tells me that my body enjoys, including ones I'm not supposed to, including ones that are lesser pleasures, for all the kinds, then like I've developed like a somatic literacy about pleasure that's made it very obvious which kinds of pleasure are not even morally worthwhile. Like I'm saying this because I still have the conditioning of like, this is the superior. And that's like, I'd love to continue practicing releasing. But I can see which kinds of pleasure practices like literally feel better in that they are sustained longer, they're enriching, they give me energy for later.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to use the junk food analogy too much because it's overplayed and has like weird connotations. But like, short energy versus long energy, like there's something to that, right?
Yes.
And when I'm having a kind of pleasure that is simply a relief, there's still allowing myself to actually enjoy that is actually my quickest way through it.
Yes, that's right.
Because then I notice I'm like, oh, I'm not enjoying it anymore.
If you maintain your presence, which this is the thing that's difficult, is that there is a way to use substances, people, whatever, that you can use anything to try and exit here.
Yeah.
And so if you're engaging, I don't want to say using, if you're engaging with anything and the way you're engaging with anything, anyone is presencing you more here, you're in no danger.
You're okay.
You're in no danger. And the moment you presence yourself, if you are in fact using something to exit here, to exit the present moment, the moment that you represence, the moment you bring noticing into the equation, guess what? You are out of the frequency of addiction now. You're done.
Yes.
Now, it's important to find habits and practices that help you sustain that presencing more often than not. It's not just as simple, though it fascinatingly has been for some people in some cases where like, I don't know how to explain this, just like the miraculous, like I decided and then I was finished with that substance or is finished with that behavior forever, But I would say even those people in those situations needed to set up then structures in their lives to help them maintain that. So it's again, like everything else, it's a both and of like,
absolutely.
Technically all you need is the awareness. And in addition to the awareness, you also need the ability to support yourself in the maintenance of that awareness more often than not, because that's just going to keep you from hurting yourself and other people, most successfully, I think. But yeah, all this stuff is really, this is the thing when we're talking about pleasure and we're talking about enjoyment. Like enjoyment almost feels like a truer word for me as we talk about this.
It's a preferred word for me versus like presence and awareness. Not like those are more probably accurate to describe all of it, but there's something that's a bit playful and fun. And I've learned that when I'm having a good time, I want to keep doing it. So why not even do it about, like a meta level? When I'm like, ooh, what is enjoyable here? Even here, what is enjoyable here? It's a loving awareness. It's a delightful and taking delight in awareness. It's a warm kind of awareness that feels better.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, is the feeling better.
Yeah. That's the whole point. Again, like what we talked about when you were my client. Like shockingly, that's the point. I mean, pitch me on a better one. I don't need anybody to like agree with me that is the point. My life has vastly improved now that I've like surrendered to that being my belief, but like pitch me on a better one. And if it feels better in my body, I'll pick it. Like I haven't found one for myself that is a better argument for like what the hell is going on here, other than just be like, well, I don't know, I can't answer that. But I my best guess for what to do with the fact that I am here is like, I should maybe just have a good time.
Just have a good time. Just have a good time. And that being such a like potent navigator through possibility and how generative it is.
Yes.
And again, bringing it back to the body, thinking of like, in what cases does our body offer pleasure? And it's like to signal to us things that will nourish and sustain us.
And
like,
that are generative.
Yummy food. Yeah. You're accidentally eating poison ivy. Not going to say yummy.
It's quite gross.
Say yucky.
Yes, that's right.
Rotten things. Bleh. And like, that's on purpose. Yeah. That's the deep intelligence of the body. That's why food brings us so much pleasure. It's because we need it to survive.
Yes.
Right? And sexual pleasure too, like that whole realm as well, right? So the wisdom of what our body offers to us in pleasure and the nuance of things that we've been conditioned to feel kinds of pleasure, perhaps at cross purposes with our wellness. There's nuance there. But the way I've been able to sort through the nuance without having to ask experts outside of me, which is the good thing and the bad thing, which there's a lot of that marketing. Instead, it's allowing myself to simply see what it's like to enjoy each of the things and notice which ones dissipate way faster and actually leave a bad taste.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm not even talking about food necessarily, but like, whatever the experience is.
The ones that reveal diminishing returns to them are the ones that ultimately, like, your internally source metric genuinely starts changing. Like, if you are really, truly committed to the work of presencing, nobody has to tell you that something has diminishing returns. If you try it out for yourself and it does in fact have diminishing returns, you might for a little while still like fuck around with that thing, because most likely the diminishing return thing is very dopaminergic on the front end. So most likely you will continue fucking around with that thing, and then you will struggle with the fact that you're continuing to fucking around with that thing. But like I shared yesterday, like the frustration is such a vital part of the growth process. Yes. And so if you can notice the frustration, crowd it out with compassion, eventually the luster of the front end of the dopaminergic thing is just, it's gone, because you are so aware of the diminishing returns and you've just decided you are no longer interested in doing that to you or, by extension, anyone else. And shifting a little bit, I have, of course, unsurprisingly, such an increasing passion in communicating to the modern, quite industrialized human being with a body about the unavoidable, like absolutely necessary medicine of non-sexual touch that previously, up until we became industrialized, forced into, this industrialized way of being, touch was an extraordinarily present language and an extraordinarily potent medicine for our species, for the entirety of our species' existence up until just a couple hundred years ago. There's no way that we're doing perfectly fine about that. There's no fucking way. And I think there's a lot that's going on in us, in our nervous systems, in our immune systems, in just like the whole spectrum of physical, mental, emotional, relational health. There is so much that we still, as a culture, I love that we're talking about trauma. I love that we're talking about all the things we're talking about, attachment, blah, blah, blah. But we're still not talking about touch.
Yeah.
It feels like this thing, we've just like missed it. Like it's like a thing that was so present that we've recently forgot, that we're still just like not remembering yet on a wide scale. And we're creeping there slowly. We're like, it is way more acceptable and even more normal to get massages and body work. Like in my lifetime, it went from this thing that like nobody ever fucking did, and even had like a little shade of like a salacious, like, oh, what's not about, certain guys go to certain places or certain ladies,
Yeah.
And then it shifted to like this thing that like some people with certain amounts of like resourcing and privilege who have all this time and are frivolous. It's an unserious, completely, bonus thing that some people get to do. It's a massage, it's a luxury to like, now it is for many people more of like I get massages routinely. I get routine touch that I pay for in this sort of setting. And so I see that progression. I see it. I'm grateful for it. And that ain't cutting it. Like, it's it's not like, yes, more of a recognition of touch as medicine that is, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this for a living. I deeply believe in touch as medicine. But I'm also talking about taking that to its fullest extent of like, we need to re-infuse the language, just the language and vehicle of connection that is regular non-sexual touch between human beings, both related and unrelated to one another. And I don't think we're going to be able to figure all of the rest of this stuff out about how we're well with our food system until we like get over our weird embarrassment about it. Just fucking accept that like this used to be so normal. I feel the same way about sound. Like, I don't think we're going to be well if we just keep on insisting that the only way we can successfully make noise is through like talking and logical sound. We need to be screeching randomly. We need to be like, we need
like
to be
full expressions of.
We need to be making weird fucking noises in each other's presence. We are animals.
We need to just be weirder.
We need to be weirder. Great. Okay. That's the whole,
period.
We'll just have an episode about how we need to be weirder. To really access the full enjoyment of the human experience, we need to just let ourselves be weirder. I agree.
Okay. The pleasure of weirdness.
That's actually perfect, because the three main things for me that have been coming up for the last few years, I'm just like holding them loosely, is that I know I want to move more and more in the direction of being a facilitator, teacher, et cetera, of movement, sound, and touch. And not just like strength training and massage, the weird shit.
Yeah.
The weird
all the ways.
Stuff.
Every direction.
The authentic movement, the weird sounds, the normalized touch, like all of that. So cool. Great.
I'm into it. I wrote it down. Okay,
Great.
I think, should we take a break probably?
Joan, you remember.
I'm like, what?
I'm not going to start sending calendar invites though. This is not a direct
We're not doing a full role
you.
reversal.
No.
It's all good.
Yes.
But yeah, let's. And then I like have 50 billion more ideas.
Great.
So why don't we just actually enter the field of imagined possibility, where we just like say a bunch of things.
Cool.
And y'all, we're not going to like decide on this podcast, but I think it would be fun to like kind of in real time explore and see what's sparking.
Love it. Let's do it.
So let's do that.
Cool. Sounds good. I'll see you in a minute.
See you soon.
Hey. If you'd like to connect with us, we invite you to join us on Substack.
exanatomy.substack.com is the home for the Experiential Anatomy podcast. It's the place to stay up to date and never miss an episode, even if you're taking a break from social media.
You can subscribe for free, and you can contribute to the sustainable creation of these conversations by upgrading to a paid subscription. Paid subscribers get access to special content like audience Q&As, bonus episodes, and other supportive materials that we've created along the way.
We love it there, and we hope you will too. Okay.
Yeah.
So, on the other side of the break, you with a plate of cookies.
Yes, that's right. I got cookies.
Okay. Well, in that break, I wrote down some things.
Great. Tell me
as
all about
possible topics. Well, I wrote down food and sex. And I'm like, you could have an episode about food and sex, or you could have an episode about food. You could have an episode about sex. I think we would have to have at least one episode that like discusses sex, because it would make no sense to have a season on pleasure and not.
It'd be really boring too if we didn't. You know.
Also that. Yeah. And I feel like that will be good for me, because I definitely still like right now in my chest have a tightening, because like the puritanical conditioning to not talk about sex runs strong in me.
Sure.
So
yeah. Well, let's lean into it by all means.
That.
Yep.
But I would love to not have that tell me where not to go in my life.
Yeah. Well, I think too, something that this is going to make great radio because I'm chewing my cookie.
Yummy. Well, if anyone enjoys such things, you're welcome.
It's ASMR for some of you, and it's absolutely
misophonia for
it's
others.
Causing a conflict for others of you. Yeah. As a continuation of the things we were hitting on earlier about like good versus well when it comes to like pleasure, enjoyment, actually, something I would actually really love to contribute to the sex conversation is that I grew up with the same puritanical, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then very successfully exited that and went exploring.
Yeah, you have an episode of a podcast where it's your name and calling you a sex witch.
Many, actually. More than a whole previous life where I'm talking about my escapades.
Yeah.
But this is why it matters, Joan, is because I'm only talking about such escapades exclusively through a positive and empowering lens, because that is the story I needed at the time.
Yeah.
That is not the full, true story.
Oh.
I severely hurt myself through those behaviors. And sometimes I hurt other people through those behaviors. And ultimately, at the end of the day, regardless of just like good, bad, of the impact of it all, I am grateful for the whole journey, because it has actually returned me back to many of those original puritanical-esque values that are now very authentically believed in and authentically chosen, though expressed in ways that I don't think the Puritans would be very comfortable with, you know, because I'm technically living in sin right now. You know, I'm an unmarried woman, you know. So when things become truly embodied, they kind of automatically become nuanced. But I have also found that for a lot of my journey, boy, have I come full circle, where I'm like, I can hang in sort of disguised ideological, quote unquote, alignment with like any Christian I meet about of God, unless they start talking about like the blood of Jesus needing to save us from hell. I'm like, good for you. But almost
what a potent metaphor that you seem attached to.
Yeah. Almost everything else I can hang with. And what I'm not saying is I believe sex should be saved for, you know, a marriage. When two people sign on a piece of paper and get the state involved. Like, no, absolutely not. But the preciousness of, and therefore the intention that deserves to be brought to you. And then also from the language of like, I definitely bought the story that as a woman, if I started having sex like a man, I would feel fulfilled. It's a lie. It's a lie. That sounds like a thing a Christian would say. So there's a cliffhanger. I'd love to talk about it.
But you know what's true for you.
Well, it's true for me, and I have seen that play out in the lives of so many women who are now like me, have come full circle enough where we're like, I'm ready to start telling the whole nuanced truth about my experience in this sort of like quote unquote feminist idea of like of sex for women, sex and pleasure for women, and how some of that is a false sell. I think we can't really truly decide what we want for ourselves unless we know all the options available to us.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything can be, I wrote this in my thesis actually, I don't believe anything can be the fullest express version of itself unless it has been subject to honest criticism that sharpens
for sure.
it. So yeah, I think a sex conversation would be, I guess we're doing it because we're starting to do it right now. So I guess we're doing it.
That one sounds like it's got legs.
Yeah.
Because it sounds fun. And I mean, this is it.
We're only doing what feels good.
We name topics and we're like, ooh, that intrigues me.
Yeah.
And I'll say, so like, it intrigues me, but like I named it also, there's like a part of me that feels scared about that conversation. And one thing I've learned is like the kind of scared that will be rewarded with pleasure on the other side if I don't let it hold me back. But actually that part of the things that I've found to be the most exhilarating, often they have nerves and scaredness with them. And then the pleasure of doing it anyway. So it's like a thrill. But also in this case, I'm like, I know that the part of the scared is something that I don't even believe in the story anymore, but you know, she's got it left over and that's okay.
Yeah.
And so a bit of it is like, hey, let's do it in a container that will feel safe and fun in a conversation with Jamie. We've done this before and see what shifts.
And then therefore will probably facilitate some healing. Yeah. Let's see what shifts.
And
yeah.
You know what? You can actually stay feeling a little nervous about sex and blushing and whatever, as long as you need to, body. It's fine. And I wonder if doing a little bit of an exposure, if you will, will shift things. And I'm interested in that.
I would love to do that with you.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely that one. The other one I wrote down the word indulgence and I wrote down the word guilty pleasures.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because I know for me, like a thing that comes up for me and like the kind of coaching I do a lot is like people will be like, if I say no, I'll feel bad. But if I keep saying yes too much, then I feel overwhelmed and resentful and burnt out. But I'm used to those feelings and they feel, so it's like, and when we drill down on what they mean by feel bad, it's usually they feel guilt. They'll say, and definitely whether they have identified what shame feels like for them, it's often shame too. And so often I'm like, listen, in those sorts of scenarios, like look around and make sure that you're not making a choice that will genuinely hurt anyone. But usually you're not. Usually just like saying no for your own benefit. Choose guilt over resentment. Choose guilt over overwhelm. Choose guilt over burnout. And that feels odd, but like the path to enjoying things is like paved on being willing to feel guilt.
Yes, that's right.
Until you see how much of it ends up dissipating, which I'm happy to report it often does.
Totally, because eventually your system will, like I said earlier, like just stop recognizing the efficacy.
Yeah.
The point. I said this to a client last night where I was like, you don't have to actually make yourself do X, Y, and Z. If you just keep anchoring into, if you just keep noticing and then responding with compassion, eventually that thing that you're doing that you wish you weren't doing, it'll just stop happening.
Yeah. It'll be like, oh, obviously it's run its course. Like,
yep. It's run its course.
So something in that realm.
Yeah. There's so many places to go with that topic of guilty pleasure. I love where you took it because it wasn't what first occurred to me of like, what we could talk about with it. And I really love that. Again, just remembering our audience and also like the greatest desire for this project to, I mean, we're people in the medical field talking to people in the medical field for the most part. And so anytime we can bring it back to how can this practically improve the lives, the practices, the livelihoods of people in the medical field, it's always worth it to do that. So I love that you like right away identified the like so often when we're talking to people who work in healthcare, this self-imposed story of I can't taking care of myself is an indulgence and therefore, you know, AKA guilty pleasure. And so that means all these things about it, about me, blah, blah, blah. That's so good. And I think that it's a construct that there even is something.
Yeah.
There is a quote unquote guilty pleasure at all in the first place. Yeah. What is that? So maybe we just like start there. We like, what is that? That would be really fun.
And think of the typical things that usually get put in that bucket. And like, I feel like we'd have lots to riff on.
A lot. Yeah. I mean, already we've got, we do food, sex, touch, guilty pleasure. That's 4. Typically, the last 2 seasons at least, we've done 4 us talking to guests. At some point, we made the joke amongst ourselves that if we're making a season about pleasure or like enjoyment or doing the thing that feels the most good, we absolutely, each of us as individuals, have in mind a guest that is like peak of the peak of the peak, would feel the most good. So maybe we like, hey, listeners, if you can incessantly tweet at or like just barrage kindly, lovingly, Adrienne Marie Brown and Martha Beck about us.
Dream guests.
We exist. Yeah. They are our dream guests. And 2 people, I cannot think of 2 people better to talk about pleasure and enjoyment and the necessity for pleasure, enjoyment, for like alignment, integrity, living a full life, like justice work in the world, like all of it. We can run the gamut, So, dear God, please.
Please. That was the last thing I wrote was Pleasure Activism, which is a book by Adrienne Marie Brown, and is just the whole notion that, if you're living under systems of modernity, industrialized forms of life, those include lots of constructs and stories that our bodies have ingested that you're not allowed to feel pleasure. It's bad. It's selfish. It's a waste of time. So like enjoying your life is an act of activism. It's like a radical shift away from modernity and oppressive structures. Yeah. And also just a sense of like feeling joy in the face of systems that think they benefit from you feeling otherwise, which like so embarrassing for those systems.
They don't even know. It's so embarrassing. They don't even know they're supposed to be embarrassed. That's how embarrassing it is.
Girl, like the fact that healthcare is like, we must be serious and miserable. It's like, have you met a human body? How do you think you'll work best?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like,
truly. Have you met a human body?
You take care of that healthcare system. What are you thinking? Yeah. Finding ways for it to be joyous. What's the expression of a hospital that would feel the best for everyone involved?
Oh my gosh, what a dream.
That's not what built modern hospitals.
No. And as we know, that was kind of on purpose, but like everyone was doing their best and we can do better now. Okay, let's just cover it.
We can do better.
I don't think there's a big old grand conspiracy world.
That was a working hypothesis. It's not working.
That was a working hypothesis. It's not working. We've gathered the data from the last plenty of data from the last 120 years. The fluorescent lighting is not fucking cutting it.
It's not. It's so
not working.
It's just really
the stainless
bad.
steel everywhere.
The smell. The smell.
Let's start there. Let's start.
And I don't even mean the bodily smell.
No,
it's like beyond.
It's the sterile smell.
Yes.
It's the
cleaners.
Everyone knows the smell. Everyone smelled it the moment you just said the smell. We all know what a hospital smells like. Yeah. Well, here's what I'm thinking about. You teach me about pleasure activism. Teach me / our audience.
Yes.
I teach you / our audience about The Way of Integrity. Probably my number one most important favorite book of all time, which is why, I would love to talk to her. And if all of our dreams come true,
enter the chat.
We pivot hard and we go, hi, Martha Beck. You talk about whatever you want. But we hold this space for we're going to talk about this person's book. And if we end up talking to the person, excellent. Really, bonus. Really good. Really good. We have a few months to make this happen. Like I said in the voice memos, some magical things have been afoot as of late. So I don't know.
Let's go.
Anything is possible.
Yes.
Yep.
I've been really allowing myself to enjoy daydreaming more. I have always been a very active daydreamer, since I can remember, honestly. One could say it depends. My current belief system is I did a very hard daydreaming about a relationship with Jesus and had an active relational, imaginational experience with him. And now view that as a kind of imagination practice, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then also most of my other daydreams were like falling in love with celebrities.
Oh, me too. We should see if we have any overlaps at some point. Maybe not now, but
Oh man. Yes. Maybe it'll be a bonus episode.
yes.
Oh, I like that one for a bonus, actually.
I love that. We could make actually this daydreaming thing, that could be its own bonus episode.
Yes. Because I want to like name names or whatever. You know, like
me
that
too.
would be fun.
And this is guilty pleasure adjacent for me.
Yes.
Because when you were young, as far as it relates to the relationship with Jesus, like you would not have called it daydreaming at the time, but
no, it didn't. It felt real at the time.
It was very off the table for me. And I don't think anybody like said or taught me that directly. There was just what I was getting this sense of, I think what was more in the soup I was swimming in was like unserious, stupid people let their minds wander.
Ooh.
So
damn.
You cannot at all costs, you need to make sure you are not an unserious or stupid person. And I really want to spend time with my body, like for many reasons, digging into like, where did the like serious and smart thing come from? Like, why was that such a intense thing? But when I have heard Esther Hicks or, Abraham through Esther talk about just like, man, how important, again, it's very cute. She calls it virtual reality.
Oh, that is what it is.
Like how important, like a specific type of meditative, imaginative state where you like let yourself play around in the field of possibility and you move the pieces around so that it all goes well.
Yes.
That's very difficult for me. Maybe I want to put a little bit of this in the past tense. Like it has historically been very difficult. I'm working on it. So this is why I would like to have this conversation. I would like to learn from you, Joan, because what I've noticed over the last year tends to happen is I'm trying really hard, and maybe that's part of the problem. I'm trying really hard to focus on the wide open space and imaginative possibility. And what starts happening is my mind wanders back into the groove of thought looping all of the current problems that need to be solved.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to stop doing through this but like it's hard to maintain the practice because I keep going back to I think there's so much value. It's taken me a long time to recognize the value in what we call daydreaming, imagining, mind wandering, virtual reality. And so I'm at that phase where I'm like, I have such a decided conceptual value for it. And it is not embodied to the degree that I really, really want it to be. Like it's a skill I want to practice more of.
Oh man, that feels like a cool bridge episode. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's about exploring the field of imaginative possibility and then just starting to create narratives out of it and notice what feels good. And it's all purely still in that imaginative space.
Yeah.
Versus I'm imagining when we talk about pleasure, it's a little bit about starting to enact in your life and see what your body gives back to you beyond simply virtual reality, but like reality. So you know what I mean?
Yes.
Whether it's like then early in the season or it's actually a bonus in between or something.
Yeah. I love that.
That feels really good. Did you have any other sort of ideas around pleasure you wanted to put into the space?
I mean, I don't think so. I had zero ideas. That's why I was really excited that you had multiple ideas.
Yeah.
And now that you've said these, I'm like, oh yeah, like these all feel as if they could have been my ideas too, because I like them so much. So I feel really content with like this mapping out of it. I'm looking forward to the ways in which this theme that listeners will know is like such a consistent theme for me in general. How do we keep waking up from cultural codependency so that we can be more well? I'm really looking forward to how that theme comes in and is integrated into the way that we talk about each one of these topics, the way we talk through each one of these episodes for our next season. It's all fun and games to be like, I'm going to learn how to do this for me. And it starts getting really messy and complicated when you tell yourself the truth that's everyone else gets to do that too.
Yes.
And there's the field
Whee!
of imaginative possibility is, once again, it is vast. It's wide. That's by design.
Yeah.
It is extraordinarily nuanced. So the only way you can really be in it is if you have developed the capacity for nuance in your own somatic system. And the reason why that's vital, the reason why developing a non-reactive, open, curious, and I do mean 100% of the time, there is no exception.
Mhm.
There is no exception. I was with some people the other night and I was like, I wasn't arguing a case for anything. I was just like stating things that feel really obvious to me about like just the fundamental humanity of Donald Trump. And I was like hitting up against stuff I wasn't like totally expecting to hit up against. And like, because for me, I'm just like, I'm not telling anyone else what to do or what to believe or what to feel. But what I'm saying is like, if you're going to be on this path of integrity with the body, there can be no exception.
Yeah. He also has a
it's
body.
not a
He also is
moral
human.
measure. It's just natural law, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so it can't be that you are totally comfortable with letting people, live how they want to, except people in this political party or accept people who do this specific thing. Now, I'm not saying that like be totally chill when people hurt other people.
Yeah. And be like, no problem. I don't want to make choices about that. That it's like separate.
Yes, it's separate. And really what it all comes down to is how personally are you taking someone else's choice on someone's path? How personally are you taking that to the degree that you are internalizing it and now hurting yourself with it through an internal fixation, an obsession, addiction? This is why I believe codependency is like the foundational addiction that all other like substance, et cetera, addiction springs forth from. How are you now hurting yourself with this false belief that you need them to be different so that you can feel better? Because the second you are in alignment with that belief, you're now putting yourself on that fun little drama triangle. You're in victim, but hang on, you'll spin around and you can actually I think the evolution of consciousness, the path of like waking up is realizing you could exit that cycle anytime you want. That is not the default state of the human being. That is not the default state of the human being. It has been for a long time, whatever, so it has been maybe one of the most important things in my life, like if you had talked to me 4 years ago, I would have just completely dismissed, very rudely probably, any sort of hint that this would end up being maybe the single most important thing that I have ever learned on my journey is I do not need anyone ever to be different for me to feel better, truly and totally and seriously. And so as we're talking about pleasure and enjoyment and all of these things, that's a lens I look through so often now. It is one of the biggest things that I support and assist my clients with is like, because if we're talking about their somatic experience, we have to constantly return back to what are you in charge of?
Yeah.
Actually, what are you in charge of? So yeah, I'm really excited about finding out as these conversations grow, like when I apply that lens, how that will come up as it relates to sex, as it relates to touch, as it relates to guilty pleasures, as it relates to food, as it relates to daydreaming, when I'm talking to Martha Beck, so it'll be cool. It'll be cool to find out.
I can see it because I think I'm just like, it's just coming to me now, but potentially a way to think like, so how did I get to feel guilty about feeling pleasure in my body? It was through a whole bunch of like codependent conditioning with other people.
Yeah.
Where for some reason, when I felt good, that was bad or evil and therefore maybe unsafe for them. And everyone's in charge of each other's pleasure and also not allowed to feel pleasure themselves. Like there's like some stuff in there that I haven't, like I'm literally like, what? And we should talk about it on an episode of the podcast. But it feels like kind of the technology that was used to keep us from pleasure is one way to
yes
codependency.
Really well said. Really well said. I love that. Yeah. Like, makes me want to throw up.
No, I just feel like I'm like tripping out about it. This is pleasure. This is a good time.
So good.
One last one. And I think anyway, we can fully actually decide the actual track list later, but
track list. Love it.
something about pleasure and pain and their connection.
Oh, yes.
Kind of like from the beginning. Including like there's like concepts of like existential kink and there's like enjoying your difficulty and even, like getting a kind of pleasure from pain.
Yeah.
That again, maybe would fold in or maybe it'd be its own thing.
You want to just go straight to talking about BDSM, Joan? Do you want to we could go.
Right.
Do we put that in the sex episode or do we? No.
well, genuinely, like if you have personal experience, I don't have personal experience.
We can paywall it.
And if we had a guest.
Yeah, I'm open. I'm open to talking. I truly am. I'm open to talking about my experiences because I do, in fact, have experiences with this. Of course, when I was on my European sabbatical, I met a dom in a dungeon, whatever. My dad doesn't even know this, so this is great. But yes, behind a paywall, happy to talk about it.
I actually feel like, not in a way that it's stigmatizing it, but like if we want to like get into talking about sex, like behind a paywall sounds good to me.
Okay, great. Cool.
As a bit of somatic.
I love that. Yeah,
we're
you're edging towards things. So we're it's kind of a loose
edging
sexy term. Yeah. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Love it. Yeah, just in general that concept of like the pain side, because where I go with that is the neutral somatic language of what we're talking about is capacity on either end of the spectrum.
Yes.
Generally, the initial doorway into becoming embodied is through pain or through responding to pain. It's when pain happens to you, whether that's physical, emotional, existential, spiritual, relational pain of any kind. When people start on the path of embodiment, almost always it's like having something to do with needing to expand into the capacity to actually feel their pain so they stop dissociating.
Yeah.
Level 2 is pleasure. Level 1 is pain. Pain is the doorway. Pleasure actually is the harder one. Learning how to allow yourself to feel safe enough to expand your capacity to tolerate pleasure.
Tolerate pleasure.
Yes, to tolerate pleasure. So when we're talking about the pain-pleasure dichotomy, it's all capacity, it's all expansion, it's all window of tolerance stuff on either side. And each one is a teacher. Like pain prepared me.
Yeah.
Started expanding my capacity to feel pleasure. However wide or deep I expanded my capacity to feel pain, that is the capacity that I have for pleasure. So if I want more pleasure, I have to expand into more pain and vice versa. Although I don't know why I would want more pain unless, become a paid subscriber and you can hear why for a very brief period of my life, I did in fact want more pain.
I'm subscribing. That sounds good.
Yeah, it was really useful. I learned so much. So yeah.
That's so cool. Okay. We got a good list. We'll keep, off camera and off mic feeling out. So come with us on the journey, folks, and see what the actual season ends up shaping up like. But I hope that you enjoyed kind of even more direct peek behind the curtain of like, I had the thought of like, what if this episode was our imaginative possibilities for the next one through the lens of pleasure. And that's how we do it is we talk and then like the amount of times we like laughed or, you know what I mean? Like those moments you're like, oh yeah, that's the one. Because our bodies are having the light up moments. So you say, okay, this is the one that we're drawn to more than others.
Yes.
That's basically just what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great idea. I'm so glad you had that idea. This has been really fun. And I think the last thing to just mention too is like prior to season 4, we've got mid-season stuff. Keeping with the theme of imaginative possibility, I have no idea what we're going to do. We haven't discussed it for a second. We have some ideas now. Yeah, we could totally, we could like pre-launch some of these. I don't know, maybe we'll say, join us in the field of possibility by like, if you have ideas, we'll definitely do at least one, maybe 2 like Q&As mid-season.
Yes.
If you have ideas for things you would like us to share with you through any format, whether it's like maybe something Joan has written or something I have written, or if it's like you have an idea for a bonus conversation of some kind that really doesn't have to do with anything in this season or anything in the next season, but you've literally just been like, I'd love to hear Joan and Jamie talk about this thing.
This.
Yeah, let us know what that is because we'd love to do it. Not just because we would love to do it, but also because help, we need ideas. we need your help. We need your help.
And it's how delightful is it to have like someone request and then we get to
it's a
just
great
dive
feeling.
into.
Yeah.
So
very
please,
pleasurable feeling.
Like join us in the joy. And then I also know it feels good like if you submit an idea and then have someone actually respond to request, that also feels pleasurable.
That's a great feeling. Yeah.
Pleasure all around, folks. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Let's all go get some pleasure together.
All right. Well, last point of the podcast.
Yep.
Jamie, having spent, all this time sitting and enjoying being in your company and our bodies the same, what part of your body do you want to dedicate this episode to and offer some appreciation to?
I knew this was coming. I had no idea. I was trying not to panic throughout this entire episode and be like, I don't know. I've said my nose too many times. It's the obvious one. I can't pick that again. I was like, what am I going to as you were asking me that question. And what happened was, I'll just walk you through it.
Please.
I just settled myself. I told my body, I was like, girl, this is an edited, you can sit for 5 full minutes in silence if you like.
Yeah. Take your time.
We're good. There's nothing to panic about. The moment I did that, the answer came, of course. So it came to me while you were asking me the question. My uterus. Because, I'm really starting to, I could be in the active process of getting pregnant right now for all I know. Like we are in the field of possibility. Like by the time this episode airs, I could find out I'm pregnant. By the time I'm in that zone of like anything truly is possible. And I'm in the zone of I am absolutely ready to get ready the moment I find out I'm pregnant. So I'm not ready right now to be pregnant, but I'm readied that the previous 2 times I have received a positive pregnancy test. There's complicated things around both of those. As you can probably infer, those of you listening, I don't have 2 biological children. Draw your own conclusions.
Yes.
I wasn't ready. And it's a complicated, it's been such a journey for me, like getting to that mostly has had everything to do with like reestablishing trust with my body.
Yeah.
And just trust in the natural biological process of pregnancy and birth. And I don't feel ready right now, but I have had such a specific intention for the last couple of years that this time, whenever I find out that I am in fact pregnant, I don't want there to be a second of anything other than enjoyment, excitement in my system for a bunch of reasons. But the primary one being like, I don't want that person that I'm like, all right, I'm stewarding you. Now here we go. Let's do this. Like, I don't want them to, for a second, feel anything other than welcome here on this planet and therefore in my body, because that's how you get to this planet. I'm happy to report that I'm there. I'm in the zone of readiness that like whenever I get the cue, I get the order, it's time, it's showtime, let's do this. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'll click into that right away. And because I'm there and luckily simultaneously also in this like about 6-month-ish, roughly, could happen anytime, but roughly about 6-month like preconception window.
Yeah.
I am really aware that like at any moment, this part of my anatomy that I've given such little thought to for most of my life. And if I've given thought to that part of my anatomy most of my life, it has been a begrudging fuck you. But the truth of the original natural law aligned intention of that, this part of my body that only some of us get, like, it's cool that I have one, like, is this utterly fascinating, mystical, like somehow in this part of my body, something happens where someone who wasn't here is becoming here, and then they're here. Like, what the fuck is that? That happens in a physical organ in my body.
Yes, it does.
Oh my God. So I'm just like really acutely aware of the truth of like, that's what a uterus does. That's what a uterus is for. That's why they're, and even more acutely, like personally, somatically aware that like I could enter into that like lineage of people that happens to at any moment. And so that feels really present and on the surface today.
Well, I'm appreciating that for you. I'm appreciating my uterus certainly as well, but really like I'm just like cheering for you and your uterus.
I've had a number of women in my life say that to me, and I'm like, that is the coolest compliment. Just like, oh, your body's gonna do great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm surrendered. So here we go.
Beautiful.
We'll see what happens.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who's been on the journey through this season. We've gotten a number of lovely comments and connecting points. The German New Medicine episode just came out, and there's been some really cool comments and reactions to that episode that feel really special. And so just thank you to all of you who listen, and whether you interact with us or just interact with your bodies about what you hear. So much gratitude to you all.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes it's hard to remember, because I have such a good time just talking to you, Joan, that sometimes it's hard to remember that.
I know. There's like this other thing that happens after.
There's this other thing that happens after, and we're in relationship with like all these people, most of which we will never know.
I know. That's so
we will
wild.
never know. We will never even know of. And so sometimes it's hard to consciously remember that all of you are out there. You genuinely exist. You have a body. So yeah, I'm also feeling really grateful, and am really looking forward to continuing these conversations amongst all of you in season 4.
So we'll see you there.
Okay. Bye. See you there.
Bye. This is Experiential Anatomy. Thanks for listening. I'm Joan Chan.
And I'm Jamie Lee Finch. Experiential Anatomy is co-hosted and created by us.
Amber Wyndham is the editor. Julia Wyndham is the supervising producer.
Senior producer is Elizabeth Wyndham. Aaron Beatty leads our community management.
Our theme music is Park Pier 3 by G's Guy.
If you have any thoughts, questions, or stories to share about this week's episode, email us at exanatomy@gmail.com.
Please follow, rate, and review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember to join us over at exanatomy.substack.com.
Experiential Anatomy is produced by Windhaven Productions. Oh, cat food. Take a second. While it makes
Please
noises.
hold.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cat food.
Cat food break. It's a cat food break. This is going to be the outro.
I think so. It's a cat food break.